Since you don't have a premium.
Yeah, I couldn't get it in. I'll
Okay. You just reshare.
I'll reshare it. I'll retweet it with him.
All right. Welcome to Sunday Sweats. We are live. We are in person in Boston. I'm happy to be here with my man Josh. Again, I'm a Philly guy. I'm not always in Boston, but luckily I am today. And we had to do an in-person show because of that. So, Josh, it is great to be here with you, brother.
It's great to be with you, man. Yeah,
How's it going?
It's going great. I must say, you and I go way back. Sometimes we hang at the Borgata in Jersey. Sometimes we go to the Vegas, real Sin City. But it's a great pleasure having you here in Boston. And I heard you had some opening remarks about Boston, some thoughts from a Philly guy about what you've felt and seen and experienced in Boston so far.
Yeah, so quick story, then we'll get into everything that you guys are here for. But, I get here, I drove here Friday, get here Friday night, go out with the girlfriend, the friends, walking out of the bar, and some guy said something to my girlfriend. And I'm like, I just gave him a look, just gave him a look. Then 7 college dudes come at me. One dude just comes up and squares up on me that I didn't even know that existed. He just ran over and was like, all right, bro, you ready? And I literally, I'm like, what? So I was in Boston for maybe like an hour, and I had 8 people try to fight me, and then the cops had to break it up. And the dude's entire friend group tackled him down on the ground. It was a wild start to the trip. But I do love Boston, and it's awesome to be here with you because it's NFL Sunday. We had an awesome NFL week 1. And again, the show was great last week. And again, from a Rithmm perspective, we were 6% ROI on spreads last week. So for NFL week 1, which is one of the tougher weeks to really be able to gamble on just because there's so many unknowns, we had a great start. And I think this week will be even better.
Yeah, super excited about this week. And so first off, you defended your girlfriend and you could have wrecked those kids and you didn't. So better discretion is a better part.
I'm a lover. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Yeah. That's how I like to consider things. But I had to really restrain myself because, man, I've never had somebody square up on me like that. And I was like, why?
Just like Boston people are just. Yeah. I'm from Western. Anyway, we'll get into that. No one wants to hear about that. But a couple comments about Rithmm. So first off, have you downloaded the Rithmm app yet? You better go do it right now.
QR code.
Scan the QR code. James, I saw a tweet you said let's get in the top 100. Where do we rank right now? Are we top 50 or
we got the number 70, and we've been in the top 100. Right now we're like 110. NFL Sunday is a little different, but we were ranking in the top 100 for about a week straight, right? So that is a huge deal for a company at our size. To peak at 70 during football season is not an easy thing to do, but I think that shows the quality of our app and how we're helping people. So if you haven't tried it yet, it's a great time to do it. And again, I think we're really just getting started. I think people are starting to see the quality of what we do. Again, college football has been awesome too. Personally, I have a model that's like 45-10 still.
I need to get into this model here.
And again, if you want to go copy my model, go to our leaderboard and you can press copy model, and then you can get the same one that's helped me absolutely crush college football. So again, it's a good time to be a better. There's so much football on, but if you don't have a tool that's helping you really understand what the best options are, you can be betting blindly. And that's the opposite of what we want to do for this show. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you understand the best betting opportunities, how to understand the lines. And I'm a casual. This is the expert. So no matter where you sit in the dynamic of betting, you have 2 people here that are going to try to help you make better decisions today. So Josh, what are your thoughts? Anything that stuck out to you from week 1? One, congrats to your Patriots. Probably it's like when the Sixers were really bad and they'd win a game, and I'm like, I don't even know if I wanted them to win. But I'll let you start with that, and then we can dive into week 2.
Yeah. So first off, shocking the Patriots won that game and covered that game. All summer long, you're hearing about how terrible the Patriots are going to be. I'm a Pats fan. I'm holding an under 4.5 win total, so it's bittersweet for me seeing them win. But I think you raised a lot of good comments about how to utilize Rithmm. So I think a lot of people, there's so many live streams you can look at on a Sunday, and a lot of people are coming for the picks. Of course, we all want to win, but I think with Rithmm, it's learning the thought process of identifying value. And kind of my approach, and we've hit on this before, James, is like I'm looking at what the market's doing, and I'm trying to find situations where my model of data-driven, sharp contrarian betting aligns with what Rithmm is telling me. So I'll give you an example here for a game upcoming, mentioning the Patriots. Patriots at home against Seattle today. Now, my model, looking at what I've derived over a decade now at this point, trying to be against the public with the sharps, trying to beat the closing line. I like the Patriots plus 3.5 at home against Seattle. This line opened around 3. Public's on Seattle. They do not believe in the Patriots, even though they won last week. Got up to 3.5. It's coming back down to 3. So I grabbed the hook here with the Patriots. And another angle that I like with New England is kind of the West Coast team going east for a 1 o'clock game. That's always a tough situation historically. And I also look at some betting system matches, James, because if you look at the spot the Patriots are in, historically, when you are a home dog in week 2 getting 3.5 points or less, those teams are 14-6 against the spread, 70% since 2018. So that matches with New England. So I know it's a long-winded answer of kind of saying my model likes New England, but then the beauty of Rithmm is I pop open the Rithmm app, I go to my Rithmm prediction here, my Josh Rithmm prediction, so you can create your own model or follow James's model or all the great models of Rithmm, has the Patriots plus 1.2. So boom, I've identified contrarian, sharp reverse buyback on Pats plus 3.5, some betting system matches, and if I'm holding a 3.5, it's going to close maybe at 3 and beat the closing line. But the cherry on top for me with Rithmm is that they're predicting a 1.2 spread. So if Rithmm is predicting 1.2 game and we're getting 3.5, boom, that's kind of gives me more confidence value to play the Patriots here. That's how I utilize Rithmm, and I'll just throw this one at you too, James. It's not just game bets, player props. Ramondre Stevenson was a play we talked about last week. He went over his rushing total. Quick, got in the first half. I don't know if it'll take the first half or longer, but another Rithmm prediction on Ramondre Stevenson today. Ramondre is 61.5 rushing yards in the betting market. Rithmm is predicting 82.9. So that's almost a 20-point discrepancy there. So whether it's props, game bets, this is how I utilize Rithmm. And I feel like, probably that's the way a lot of people do it. Or, to your point, don't even think about it too much. Play your top system matches, right?
Yeah, I mean, a good example is yesterday. Again, I'm here in Boston. I'm enjoying myself. We're out at the bar. There's a bunch of college football games on. And my buddy was asking me, he's like, so what is the best way to use Rithmm? I was like, see that game on TV there? Do you know anything about either of those teams? He's like, hell no. I'm like, great, Rithmm does. So that's when you can open up the app and get an educated decision or recommendation on what's actually on that TV. So you never feel like you're betting blindly. So for me, again, as the casual, I like to consider myself somewhat of an idiot, a lovable idiot, but as somebody that needs that help, I can go to Rithmm and I have multiple pieces that help me. So again, for player props, I can see graphs, I can see recent history, I can see, again, anything that I would need to make a confident decision. And then for games, I like to see where all my models agree, and that's really my method. So everybody uses the app a little bit different, but again, there's something in there for everybody, no matter how you're looking at the games. It's both to help you. Again, there's not one right way to use it. Josh uses it one way, I use it one way. You can use it however you'd like. But again, it's been really helping people, been really helping me. It's way more fun to bet when you actually win, I'll tell you that much. But yeah. So Josh, a few really good games this week. We're going to highlight 3 main ones.
Yep.
Right? Bucks at Lions. So they're both 1-0. This was a playoff game last year after the Bucks kicked the Eagles' ass, which sucks. The Lions won 31-23 last year, and Mike Evans went off in that game. So again, is Mike Evans has a chance? Is he going to be somebody that absolutely dices them up with Baker playing the way he is? But the Lions are also, they're one of the, I think probably like some of the most money on them for NFL champs, given the value. So this should be a really good game. How are you seeing this? What are your models looking at? Like, what do you feel in general about this?
Yes, this is kind of a tough one for me. And this is kind of the way I look at either laying off or maybe picking a stronger position if you have 2 conflicting systems. So, for example, like the first thing I start with when I'm capping an NFL game is what happened with the line. NFL lines are very, very sharp. There's so much money on the line. The power ratings that the odds makers set are very spot on. So anytime a line moves, unless if it's maybe an injury, that can make total sense. But typically, you're looking at line moves driven by respected money. So I have to admit and start off by saying the line is going to Detroit. Detroit opened at a lot of shops -6.5. They're up to -7.5. Yep. Some looks even popping toward like -8. So that right off the bat told me that when this line opened, there was some respected money going with the Lions. Now, in the betting market, I'm looking at 70% of bets taking the Bucks and the points. And as a contrarian bettor, that kind of scares me that the line is moving toward the Lions, yet the public is going with the Bucks here. So that tells me it's almost a reverse line move, almost a fade the trendy dog play. Anytime you're getting a favorite getting less than 30, 30, 40% bets, that's kind of a follow for me. Here's the thing, though, that makes me lay off this game. Rithmm is predicting a much closer game.
Yeah.
Spread right now +3.5. So this is the sort of thing where I try to be picky. There's so many games available, on Sundays to bet on. We have the Thursday night, Sunday night, the Monday night games too. This would probably be a layoff because the market's telling me, the line's going to the Lions, even though they're contrarian, yet Rithmm is telling me, this should be a closer spread. Yeah. So this is a layoff for me, but I think maybe in those situations, maybe look toward the prop market.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, another interesting tidbit here, shout out to Alec, who was our producer. Last week against the Rams lost Puka, right? They lost Puka and they were on the third string offensive tackle. Yet the Rams played the Lions pretty damn close.
Yep.
So with the way the Bucs are playing, the uncertainty is probably Baker Mayfield. But he was the best quarterback in week 1. So if he can maintain that level of play with the quality of talent on that roster, maybe the Lions defense is worrisome. And right now they're 23rd in defensive efficiency, whereas the Bucs are 8th. So I'd say there's a little bit of risk here. Again, I personally, all my models are agreeing here that Bucs +7.5 is the best bet.
Yep.
But again, there's a lot of uncertainty here. I'm not quite sure if this, like you said, I may lay off this one myself.
Yeah, and the other thing I would mention too is don't forget teaser opportunities. That's another way you can really make some money betting the NFL. For example, one of the Rithmm predictions here for the Bucs game, I have it at 3.5. Another one I have it 5. So I would say take the points here. But if you're like me and you're wary of being on a public play line going the other way, you're in a good teaser spot if you wanted to take the Lions -7.5 down to -1.5, because that would still, based on the Rithmm prediction, tell you have some value here. Now, there's a lot of other games you could look toward in terms of teaser opportunities. One game that really caught my eye was the Vikings. The Vikings have seen a really, really sharp line move. They're at home against San Francisco. Public's all over the 49ers. No McCaffrey. He could be going on the IR. Yet this line is falling. The curse of Olivia Culpo, I would say, James. But this line is going toward Vikes. So I like the Vikings. So when you're looking at teasers, you need dance partners. If you wanted to take, -7.5 down to 1.5 with the Lions, who are you going to pair it with? To me, the Vikings would be a great teaser play. 4.5 to 10.5. You go through a couple key numbers. But just throw this at you too, James. In terms of a player prop, Baker Mayfield going over his passing yardage here. He's at 262.5 in the market. Rithmm is predicting 284.8. So you're about a 22-yard edge there. And I always think about game script. If you're a dog, you're playing the Lions, good offense, you're probably going to be behind. You probably have to throw the ball. Maybe you're down 14 in the fourth quarter and get garbage yards. Think through the game script. To me, if it's a teaser play or you want to take the points, again, beauty of Rithmm is, the data's given to you. You have to decide. Maybe this is a play where I only take that Baker overpassing yardage.
And thinking about Baker right now, again, he's coming off a 4-touchdown week 1. Last year in the playoffs, Mike Evans went, 8 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. And last week, Cooper Kupp absolutely feasted on that line secondary. So I think, like you said, game script. If the Bucs are going to win, Baker and Mike Evans and Godwin, everybody's going to need the ball out. So that does, again, they're running backs. Who is it, Bucky Johnson or something? It's like Rashad White, who barely got used last week, and then Bucky Irving, I believe his name is.
Oh yeah.
So look, they're a pass-heavy team, and that's again 280 seems almost a little bit low for Baker, given the amount they're going to have to throw the ball, and again how weak the Lions secondary looked last week.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Like you mentioned, the guy Bucky Irving. Whether you've heard of these players or not, there's a Rithmm prediction I'm looking at right now. 8.5 under receiving yards. The other one you mentioned, Rashad White, he could be a look here for going over his receiving yards. He's 25.5 in the market. Rhythm's predicting 36.4. So again, to me, I like to target pass catchers. It's a passing league.
Yeah.
And then if you can also get maybe a dog who has to throw the ball, boom, we're starting to layer on some filters here to make a play.
Yeah, and just to go quickly on something you said, one of my favorite things about Rithmm is for player props, we basically give you a menu, right? It's not like we're giving you only the big name players that you're going to be looking for. It's about the third string tight end, the backup running backs, the people that there's extreme value on from the sports books that you would never go and seek out yourself. That Rithmm's data is doing that for you. So I just want to make sure that people realize that when they're going through some of those best recommended player props, It's not just the big names. It's not just Baker. Again, it is Bucky Irving, or it is my favorite guy, still Trent Sherfield, who won pretty much everybody a ton of money last year in the playoffs as the backup tight end for the Bills. He hit it in one catch, and it was like plus 150 for one catch over 10 yards. And people won. Again, it's finding these guys. It makes betting more fun when you're not just watching, again, the Bakers of the world, but you're also caring about the secondary players. So,
and I'll just throw this at you too, like from a betting perspective, think about the odds makers who are incredibly good at what they do. It's kind of much easier for them to set an over-under receiving yard on Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson. They're known quantities. You can kind of expect how many snaps they'll get. They have a lot of box scores to recreate, knowing the quarterback. It's very difficult for the odds makers to set a Bucky Irving over-under. It's very difficult to set, the random third-string tight end. Those, to what James said, are really the diamonds in the rough, because even though the public, quote-unquote, the majority of bettors aren't looking toward these smaller guys, because, again, they're going to want to sweat a big known player and go over. The beauty of Rithmm, to me, in many different ways, one of them is targeting these lesser-named guys, because you still see an edge. It's very difficult for the odds makers to set those numbers.
Yeah. Plus, there's nothing cooler than being able to go up to your buddy who's asking you, like, yo, what are you betting on? And be like, Bucky Irving.
Yo, I'm heavy on Bucky Irving today. Like, I'm
the Buck man.
Big one.
Yeah, I think that's got to be a Sunday sweat of the day. We got to have Bucky Irving here just because he's such a fun name to say. So we're gonna throw that on the list here. So we're Bucky Irving fans. Bucky, I'm sure you're watching this pregame right now. What's up? We love you. So a different type of matchup, right? This is going back to your special week 1 for the Patriots. They beat the Bengals. Joe Burrow looks different, right? Like, is it his wrist? Is it we talked about this last week too. Week 1's a struggle for the Bengals, right? It seems like that every year they start the season off a little bit slow. Jamar Chase, no idea what's going on with him. T. Higgins, no idea what's going on with him. They kind of seem like things are going south. They're playing the Chiefs today. What are you looking at in that game?
So this one is one of those crazy games where I would hold my nose and take the points with Cincinnati. It looks terrible, but you got to remember, when it comes to week 2, it's all about overreaction week, where the betting public, basically, they've had all summer to have preconceived notions on teams. You play one game, and now the betting public makes over generalizations on specific teams. Like, if you look poorly, like Cincinnati, you lose to the Patriots. You kill everyone's Survivor, James. Hopefully you didn't take Survivor.
We took the Seahawks.
Nice. I was with you too on that one. Nice. Yeah. And by the way, next year you and I are going to enter the Circuit Survivor.
So we're in it. We're in it with WagerWire right now, and we're doing it with them. So this week we're rolling with the Chargers. So
I like that.
Let's roll. Bold up, baby.
I hope you win on that one. But yeah, so just in terms of buy low, sell high, that's what I think you want to look for, generally speaking, but especially week 2. Cincinnati looked terrible. No one wants to play them. Kansas City, got the win, got the cover, but Likely's toe really was the story of that game, covering the number or not. But also think about look-ahead lines, because look-ahead lines basically are lines for future games that the odds maker set prior to a game being played. So you can actually, in the summer, get lines for every single game before the season starts, but also if you're betting week to week, when you open your app to DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever you bet at, scroll down to the following week. So look at next week's lines and just write them down, because you're looking for overreactions. Like, for example, the look at on this game was Kansas City minus 3.5. But because Cincinnati looked terrible and lost, and Cincy, you could kind of say looked good and won, the line's all the way up to 6.5.
Yeah.
So this isn't really a sharp play for me on Cincinnati. It's just a value play in terms of this was thought to be around a field goal game. Now you're getting 6.5 because the public thinks Cincy stinks. Maybe they do. But in terms of value, there's a lot of reasons to take the points in this one. And if you look currently, find this game at Rithmm. Let me see if I can find it. Because I got a prop bet for you too. Where the heck is it? Search. Yeah, here we go. All right, let's find Bengals. Go to the game. All right, so Rithmm is telling me take the Bengals on the points.
Yeah.
Currently, you're getting the Rithmm AI model saying this should be a plus 3.4 spread. My Josh model says it should be plus 5.3. So either way, again, you're not really developing any sharp action here, but contrarian inflated line value, Rithmm edges. I'd have to take the points here and go with Cincinnati. And James, I'll just throw this at you because we're talking about random guys no one knows about. Quasi-random guy, but Justin Watson.
That's my favorite. Justin Watson is always on the over on the receiving yards. Rithmm loves Justin Watson.
Cash the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Cash in week 1. His over-under is 16.5 receiving yards. Rhythm's predicting 29.7.
It's one play.
One play. And again, you may have to wait and pick and choose, but he gets a 20-yard catch, you catch that.
He's also going to probably drop 4 or 5 passes en route to getting that one, but it's going to happen. Like that's
as long as he gets it. Yeah.
It's the Justin Watson experience. You got to love it. Now, Josh, this is an interesting stat, and I wonder how much you take this into consideration when choosing your bets. Joe Burrow was 3-1 against the Chiefs in his career. One loss was in the AFC Championship game 2022. He's coming off an awful week 1. Everybody's talking about, is Joe Burrow cooked? Is it because of his hair? Is it because of his wrist? Obviously not his hair. Is this like a get-right game for him? Are you thinking about the narrative around that? Or are you strictly looking at the data in an instance like this and saying, you know what? Those are way too many points to be given to a team that good.
So I think there's a little bit of both. Like I always want to buy low, sell high. That's something whether in the investing financial community, whether you're in sports betting, anytime the crowd makes a decision or takes a position heavily in favor of one side, the value is to go the other way. Like there's a great quote. I think it's Warren Buffett. He said, when everyone seeks to be greedy, you should be, I'm butchering this. It's better to be smart when people are greedy or greedy when they're smart, something like that. But the whole point being, like, people are down on Burrow. To your point, they're a dog in this game. I'm looking at his passing yards right now. It's 236.5. Rhythm's predicting 245. I always want to basically buy low on players that don't play well, sell high on players that do. So in this instance, if you're making me pick between either Mahomes or Burrow, passing yardage, everyone's going to play Mahomes over. How many people are playing the Burrow over? Probably, typically it's a lot. But after a bad game like against the Patriots, you have banged up wide receivers. That could be a buy low opportunity on Burrow. And by the way, at DraftKings, only 19% of spread bets are taking the Bengals in the points. That's just incredible. Fade all the drunk people at the bar bet.
I mean, again, that's exactly what Rithmm is. Rithmm is fading all the drunk idiots making decisions based off their drunk confidence or whatever they think they're smarter than somebody else. So we're taking that out of the equation for you guys. So you said Justin Watson over. And what other plays do you have for this game specifically? Is there anything off the top that you're really excited about?
Not a ton. I mean, to me, this is just an epic buy low play on the Bengals. I'm looking at some other receiving props here. Like, I had no idea how to pronounce this guy's name, and then I was actually watching the Patriots game. Yosivash. Do you know who this is?
Oh, yeah.
Andre.
Really fast.
Big guy. I think he played track, right?
Yeah.
He was
speedster.
Brought in as a speedster. Yosivash.
That's a hell of a way to pronounce. I would have never guessed. I was like Iasovich.
Yeah, I had no idea until I heard it. But his over-under is 38.5 receiving yards. Rhythm is predicting 14.5. So the other thing when it comes to props is you're going to have a lot of public bias, generally speaking, toward overs because it's going to be more fun to root for a guy to produce and do something in the affirmative. A lot of times, though, it's going to be sharp to go under here. So this guy, Yosivash, especially if he's, I think T. Higgins is still out. Chase will play. But under 38.5, Rhythm's predicting 14.5. Again, probably can't spell the guy's name, James, but that's a play that I would go under with.
Yeah, I think for the Bengals, I don't think he's the guy they're going to be able to lean on for success today. I think it's going to be more so, again, I think he's again like a Justin Watson to me. He's a chunk yardage guy.
Yeah.
And I think the only way that could be really valuable is if game script works in his favor, right? And it's like they need to just throw chunk yardage down the end of the game or something like that. But I don't think he's going to be targeted the way that others in the offense will be. I'm
with you on that one. Pacheco is another one. Guy out of the backfield, runs super hard. Pride of Rutgers there. Tony Soprano. Yeah.
Jersey.
He's over 15.5 receiving yards. Rhythm's predicting 20.4. So a couple dump offs for the backfield. You can catch that. James, I want to ask you a question, though, because when I look at the Rithmm app and I see all these players, a lot of people, and me in particular, I focus on, okay, what's the betting market and what's Rithmm predicting? But could you maybe explain the DTM, what that means also in terms of you have percentages, you have a little, little icons here, whether to play or not to play. What does that tell users of Rithmm?
So most people aren't even going to have the DTM, right? That's more of an advanced feature. But what DTM in the back end is giving you that green star or the caution sign. So the DTM is basically what our data scientists are doing, on the back end is trying to find value. And that's what the DTM is. So it means distance to market. And again, it really doesn't matter unless you're Josh level or data scientist level where you're looking at that. But we try to make it really easy for you by doing green stars, the caution signs. You see a green star, that means we're recommending it to you. And again, the data is saying that there's value there. A caution sign means there's something that's sticking out, but it's not recommended because there's something that's either too high or too low that's causing that recommended play. So basically, the long story of or short story of this, if it's a green star, feel confident, it's recommended. It's a caution sign. Again, take that on your own accord, but the Rithmm's not recommending that.
Love that, because I think it's important to note, because again, with player propsing, you kind of go crazy and bet a lot. You get excited to split the games. Again, be selective. There's nothing wrong with that. I also want to give a shout out to the Rithmm team, James, because you guys totally revamped kind of your like homepage for each player prop.
Yep.
Like if you click on the prop and you scroll down, you're going to get some great trends, last 5, last 10, as well as different, current prop numbers. You can shop around for the best line.
Yep.
So shout out to the Rithmm crew for putting that together. I think it's a really good improvement, and just makes you more confident, at least having some historical reference points like, oh, this guy's 30.5. What did he do the last 5? Home, road. These are the things that don't make or break a bet, but you want to be aware of at least going into it.
And I think and again, shout out to our team. Our team is phenomenal at Rithmm. All the people in the back ends that do the design, the engineering, like it's way out of my element. And thank God for them, because they make a great product. But something that we realized this summer is like everybody is going outside of the app to get other data to make themselves feel more confident in the bet. We're like, why don't we just add it in there? So what we've done is add, like Josh said, if you click into the player prop prediction, you can see historical data, you can see graphs, and that makes you feel more confident. We also added a research tab. So if you go on the homepage, you'll see on the bottom, you can go see rankings, you can see offensive, defensive efficiency, teams that score the most touchdowns, like all these different various points to help you make a more confident decision. So to Josh's point, check that out. Again, if you're looking for more data, we've got it. We love data. That's literally exactly what we do. So make sure you're tuning into that piece of things. One other thing, and shout out producer Alec for making sure that I bring this up. I think a lot of people don't realize this, but Rithmm is setting lines just like a sports book does, right? We're using the data to take that and say what we think the line should be. Now, we're not putting that out there, right? We're not putting out, hey, you can't bet on Rithmm. You're using what you get on Rithmm to go bet on the sports book, but we're giving you what, again, we think the line should be. So when you go and look through that, that's, again, it's really valuable. So.
No, you're totally right. And I think it also makes you feel like you're a professional bettor, because a lot of people may not know this, the betting market is 95, 97% quote unquote public. Now in the midst of public, there's a wide spectrum. You have much sharper quote unquote public bettors versus kind of just casual bettors. But the big distinction is a lot of pro bettors set their own lines. So what a pro bettor will do is create their own power ratings. Again, different people can have different ratings. They're based on different factors. But basically what wise guys do is they act as their own sports book. So you can almost pretend like you're Billy Walters or you're some professional sports bettor, because you have the power of Rithmm telling you, hey, this line should be 1.2. The betting market's 3.5. Boom. Without doing much work there, you have identified an edge on, the dog, the 3.5, based on comparing your number discrepancy play to what the betting market is offering. So again, it makes you feel like, hey, I'm not throwing darts here. I have data to back up kind of whether it's your thought or not. Really, you don't want to even put your bias at play, but the data is telling you there's an edge here or an advantage over the books.
Yep. Now,
what do we got next?
We got a big game, Sunday Night Football. Now, and you got some breaking news here on air that Rome Odunzie is going to be playing, right? So that's going to be helpful for Caleb Williams here. But Bears at Texans. What do you got in this game? This is going to be, again, like, I don't know what to take from the Bears week 1. I don't think Bears fans know what to take from week 1. I don't know if the Bears players know what to take from week 1. But they're playing the Texans. CJ Stroud is that dude. How do you see this game playing out?
So this one's interesting. Sunday Night Football, right? Most heavily bet game of the night. And what kind of jumped out to me is no one wants anything to do with Chicago. That's kind of my first inclination. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a big Texans fan. I took their over 9.5 win total, team on the rise. They kind of remind me a little bit of the Baltimore Orioles, James, just of like a young team with a ton of high talent, high draft picks that's meshing together. That to me is kind of the feel for the Texans overall. But again, this isn't a play on their whole season. It's just tonight and covering that number. So if you look at kind of the way this line moved, the look at on this game was Houston minus 3.5. It's all the way up to 6. some books, maybe even if you wait it out, I actually see there's a 6.5 out there. I'd probably hold my nose and take the points here with Chicago because they're contrarian and heavily bet game. Currently, you're only getting, what was it? I think it's like 21% of bets are on the Bears. Primetime games, looking to go contrarian bet against the public. That's always a play I like to look toward. Primetime dogs, primetime unders. But then again, building this routine or kind of rhythm, pun intended, of how you diagnose a game. I go from the betting market to now Rithmm. Rithmm is predicting a 4.3 spread. My Josh model is 4.3. Rithmm is 2.9. So Rithmm is kind of telling us that, hey, maybe you should buy low on Caleb Williams after a game that he won but didn't really look good in. And I'm just annoyed because I had Titans +4 in that game. They're up 17-0 and blow it. So that's a total side note there. But again, combining the market with Rithmm prediction, I'd look toward going with the +6.5 here with Chicago.
I think if Caleb Williams is going to be that guy, this is his opportunity to take a strange week 1. If you saw him running off the field, you would have thought he threw for 450 yards and 7 touchdowns. But again, it doesn't really matter. They won the game. Their defense and special teams picked them up big time, right? Block punt, pick 6. You know what? And that's kind of what sometimes you need to get the jitters out as a young quarterback. You need somebody else in that team to step up for you. I do think, and if you look at the underlying metrics, the Bears and the Texans after week 1, they're right next to each other in pretty much every ranking, right? So if it's offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency, they're right there. So this should be a close matchup. I think, again, for the line to move that much without any significant, it's not injury related, right? So I feel confident in the Bears as well.
I'm with you. And the other angle here would be, Caleb Williams going from college, USC. It's like he had to carry his team. If he didn't put up 50 points, they would lose. His defense was awful. What if this plays to Caleb Williams' advantage now that, hey, he realized I can win a game in the NFL where I throw for, 92 yards or 100? It was super low number, whatever it was, 124. Anyway, he really didn't do much, yet his team won. Maybe in your debut, that's kind of a good kind of mental situation where, hey, I don't have to be the star, the hero, the Superman. I can lean on my defense, special teams. That could be a blessing in disguise to buy low on Caleb Williams.
93 passing yards.
No, I knew it was somewhere around there. And by the way, I want to throw this at you too because I butchered the Warren Buffett quote. He said, quote, "To be fearful when others are greedy and to be greedy only when others are fearful." That's like an investment slogan. That's like a betting slogan kind of in general. But James, anyway, I wanted to mention one prop bet here. Nico Collins. This guy's been awesome here on the outside. You have Stephon Diggs bringing coverage against him. Stroud and Nico Collins have a great connection since last season, kind of growing together as 2 young players. I like him to go over 66.5 receiving yards tonight. He's predicted at Rithmm 82.1. So again, these are kind of some situations where, and again, beauty Rithmm to me, James, is say you want to bet on a game. You never want to bet on a game only because you want the action, but maybe the game bet doesn't do much for you, total side, but you find a prop bet or vice versa. The prop market doesn't do much, yet you can find a play here on the side or total. You get best of both worlds. It's a great feature of Rithmm.
Yeah. Look, I think this is going to be a fun game. I think the Texans, their receiving core with CJ Stroud is just unbelievable. And Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. I kind of forgot Stephon Diggs was on the Texans until last week. I'm like, oh my God, they are really, they're it. If they can just refine overall, they're probably one defensive player away, I'd say, from really being a top 5 team in the league. But man, they're a fun team to watch. And I mean, this hopefully will be a great matchup. If Caleb Williams is able to just play decent, this is going to be must-watch TV. I mean, you just don't know what to expect out of him yet. But I mean, it wasn't just Caleb Williams that struggled last week. I'm pretty sure DeAndre Swift, he had 30 yards, right? So I think it's one of those things that week 1, they don't really know their identity, new quarterback. And it's not like last year they had a great quarterback. So I think the Bears are going to be able to keep this a close one. And do you have any other prop bets that you liked out of this one, Josh?
I didn't have much, but I got a few other things, and I wanted to ask you a question about a game too.
Is it about the Eagles game?
We can do the Eagles.
No. Ask me the one you want first.
I want to ask about the Giants and the Commanders because
Trash Bowl,
2 terrible teams. Obviously, this is the game that not anyone is really circling unless you're
Alec as a Giants fan.
Exactly.
It's sad Giants fan on the backside.
as well as any Commanders fans out there. But this one is interesting for a couple of reasons. Like, one, lesser of two evils play for the public is to take Washington. Washington opened this game around a 3-point favorite at home. Currently, you're getting 80% of bets. Everyone's playing Washington, but this line is down to 1.5. So this is like the ultimate, like, again, it's up to you whether you want to play a game or not. But like, I like the Giants in this one. I would tease up the Giants, as gross as it sounds. Think of it this way.
Look at Alec not. Alec is so happy back there as a Giants fan. He's so thrilled.
And Alec, you broke my heart twice in the Super Bowl, so you'll always have that over me. But again, public's all over Commanders. Think of it this way: reverse line movement. This is a phrase that I often remark about. That's when the betting line goes away from the popular side toward the unpopular side. So if 80% of bets are on Commanders, they open -3. Why is it down to 1.5? Shouldn't it be up to 4? Shouldn't the line be going toward the team getting the majority of bets? There's no major injury here. Daniel Jones is still Daniel Jones, yet the line's moving toward the Giants. So if you don't want to take the 1.5, I don't blame you. I think you tease up the Giants, 1.5 to 7.5. Maybe they lose by 7. It's a low total. Total this one is like 43. But I wanted to ask you because I had some conflicting data on this game in terms of the side. Like, I have one angle here that tells me to take Commanders -1.5 because I have a Rithmm prediction of 2.4. Then I have another prediction where it's basically a 1, and I should take the points in this one. So what do you do? I guess, first off, what's your take on this game? And then number 2, when you have a Rithmm kind of either yours or someone or whatever model you have that's conflicting, how do you handle that situation?
I typically, my personal method is where, especially on like game bets, I like to see where I have at least 2 of my models agree, right? I recommend anybody that's using Rithmm getting used to it. 3 models allows you to really see where there's agreement. So it's called model ensemble. But that's something that it's literally
Have you trademarked that yet? That's model ensemble.
It sounds cool though. I don't think I could trademark it. I'm gonna try. Maybe I'll get it on a t-shirt.
That's badass. I like that.
But that's like, I stay away from games. If I only have out of my 3 models where I have 1 green star and 2 cautions, I'm like, I don't feel confident enough. Now that's where, again, as a casual, that's how I make my decisions, and that's how I've been able to have success. Now, for somebody like yourself that is looking more into the data, understands the data a little bit more, you may say, well, I feel really confident in this, and only one of my models is predicting. So it's more like for you, I feel like you're using it to validate your thoughts that you already have. I don't have thoughts. I don't care about the Giants or Commanders. I think both teams suck, especially Daniel Jones. And Jaden Daniels is actually really fun to watch, but I don't have an idea going into this game. So I'll go and see what my models say. And then if I see where, again, 2 or 3 are agreeing, I feel confident making that decision.
I think it makes total sense. And the other thing I want to mention too is we haven't talked a ton of totals, but this is my like 1 over play of the day. I bet this over earlier this week. There was some really good movement to this over. And I think maybe the thought process is like 2 bad teams, 2 defenses that aren't very good. It is a tight spread, could be back and forth. But if you look at just the betting market, this total opened at 41.5. It's up to 43. And what's notable is that at the betting market right now at DraftKings, only 38% of bets, but 64% of money is on the over. So think of it this way, James. The public's going under. They think these teams stink. It's going to be a 20-17 game or a 17-14 game. Yet the total rose. And then, again, cherry on top. And you hit the nail on the head. Like, I use Rithmm to kind of validate, either to kind of, if I'm on the fence, push me on one side, or maybe I take a step back because I have conflicting data. This is one where, green dots. What does McConaughey say? Green flags. You got to take it, something like that. Anyway, 45.4 is the Rithmm predicted total here. So betting market's moving up, even though the public's on the under. Great bet splits, and I'm getting a Rithmm prediction 45.4, and I can get over 43.5. 44 is kind of a key number when it comes to totals, not as much as sides, but I've built now a case to go over. So I'm going to root for points in the trash bowl here today.
Look, the trash bowl is the right way to do it. I love this play. I love this guy's name more than anything. But I call him Wandelay. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. I think it's Wandale. But I say Wandelay. It's really fun to say it. Wandelay Robinson over 40.5 receiving yards. That I feel really confident in that. In the last 3 games, he's hit the over significantly. And I think he's Daniel Jones' only target. I don't know if there's another person on the Giants that's capable of catching a football from Daniel Jones. So I think if Daniel Jones is going to have any passing yards today, they may only go to Wandelay Robinson. So Rithmm has that as an over 40.5. I'm confident in that play as well. I know our friends over at Better are also on Wanderlei here. So that's my prop play for this trash bowl. Again, I think if you're watching this game and you're not mentally insane, you're a Giants fan or a Commanders fan, or you want to see Jaden Daniels play, because that dude is exciting. And from a fantasy perspective, that dude, he's just going to run. So you're going to have some good – it's going to be exciting to watch him because he runs. He's got like a little let me know what you think about this comparison. A little bit of Mike Vick with the way he has a cannon.
Vick,
yeah.
I can see that.
Like I think I see a little bit of that in his play style, and it's unfortunate that he's in Washington. But, maybe he'll turn the team around.
Well, speaking of Jaden Daniels, huge discrepancy I just found here in his passing yardage. I know rushing is obviously something he did great in week 1, but he only has an over-under of 197.5 passing yards. I mean, it's kind of rare you get quarterbacks in the NFL sub 200 for a passing yardage player prop. Rithmm is predicting 233. And again, going up against a very bad Giants defense who made Sam Darnold look great last week. So I'm going to have to add this one. Jaden Daniels over 197.5. Again, Rhythm's at 233.
I want to give a shout out real quick to our guy, Kurt Benkert, who has been on the Sam Darnold train for months now. All summer he's talking about Sam Darnold. He did look good. Sam Darnold, remember when he went, was it like 6 or 7-0?
Yeah.
About with the, who was it? With the Panthers, right?
Yeah, Panthers and 49ers. You saw a ghost with the Jets. They'll never overcome that. But.
Like that just happens in New York sometimes. I think let me ask you this question. This is just a random, and let us know what you think about this too. Would the Panthers be better off right now with Sam Darnold than Bryce Young?
As of right now, yes. Yes, absolutely. Long term, who knows? Panthers, by the way, sharp as attack last week, completely got exposed. Those are the bets that I gotta let that go.
I root for Bryce as a fellow short king. I'm like, I need this guy to be good. Otherwise, it's bad look for all the short guys. So what are you supposed to do? This guy can't play quarterback. I'm dying out here, man. Like, come on. I got to bring up the Eagles game.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm in Boston. I'm going to an Eagles bar Monday night. I'm going to be obnoxious, as I should. I talked about it a little bit last week. I'm not thrilled with week 1. I don't believe in the offense yet. I don't know if I believe in Jalen Hurts yet. And it's not that I think he's a great leader. It's not anything more than he doesn't look confident. So from an outside perspective, what do you think of the Eagles right now? I think they're such everybody thinks they're good. Are they actually good? Or is it going to be another weird year like last year where the stats and the record looks better than they are on the field?
So it's kind of funny from an outsider perspective. Another team that broke my heart in the Super Bowl that shall not be mentioned.
Sorry, not sorry. 41-33, baby.
Yeah, the Eagles. We'll always have that one too. But the outside perspective as a New Englander Patriots fan is what team are the Eagles? Are they the team that started 10-0 and looked incredible, or what do they go 1-6 down the stretch, or they were terrible down the stretch?
I like to not think about it.
Yeah, sorry to bring it back up. I apologize. But they did show you something against the Green Bay Packers. Packers are a good team. Obviously, Love got hurt in the last play of the game. But I feel like maybe if you want to say like stock is up, stock is down, I'd say it's up for the Eagles only because all summer long you're being reminded how terrible you ended last year. You showed something and you won week 1 when it was a tight game. So I think there is something to build upon.
New coaching staff too, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy. If I had to see another screen pass for -3 yards from Brian Johnson, I was going to lose my damn mind. So at least Kellen Moore's right direction, but I digress.
Well, so in terms of the number here, James, it's kind of a big number for a primetime game. If you look at the current bet splits here, public is pretty hard here, heavy on the Eagles. And again, Eagles are coming off a win. They do have a rest advantage. That's notable too. I know it's early in the year, but anytime you have a team playing Thursday or Friday versus a team who played Sunday, that is a feather in your cap. This game, it opened around -4 Philly. Now it's up to -6. Some shops are 6.5. If I look at Rithmm's predicting Falcons plus 5.4. So that would kind of lead you to say, hey, take the points here. I have another model here at 4.5. I do like to bet against the public, go contrarian, and heavily bet games. But here's the other thing. Anytime you see a favorite 6.5, you tease them down to a pick them. Just win the game, Eagles. I find it hard to believe they're going to lose at home to Atlanta, kind of a dome team, especially at home with a rest advantage. I wouldn't lay the 6 with the Eagles, but they could be a teaser play to just say, hey, win the game. And again, Rhythm's predicting around a 4 or 5 point spread. That wouldn't cover the 6, but it would cover you just outright to win the game.
Now, there is some variability here because A.J. Brown is currently listed as questionable. Now, A.J. Brown, again, he's that dude. Devontae Smith's great. Dallas Goedert's great. We have talent all across the offense, but A.J. Brown is the number one receiver and one of the highest paid receivers in the league for a reason. Now, him not playing, that may, I don't know what that would do to shift the line, but that actually, if you want to use the Rhythm's player adjustment feature, you can find that out. But,
you should drop that on me. Player adjustment feature.
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
If you're a premium user, you can go in on Rhythm and you can adjust if a player is questionable or doubtful. You can see what that would do to shift the line movement. So that's a premium feature. Again, it's a little secret, but go in there and try it out. It's really cool, especially in an instance like for the Packers. Jordan Love was considering playing somehow. You could have seen what the line's going to shift like with Malik Willis at quarterback.
Yep.
I also read something today. Malik Willis, and shout out to my buddy Mike. Malik Willis, his overall QB rating, it's the same as if he just spiked the ball every single time he's taken a snap. It's like 39. I don't understand how that's possible, but that's the truth. So just want to throw that out there real quick.
I mean, he couldn't even get the Hail Mary off at the end of the game.
Man,
at least get it off. Like,
I made one of the worst fantasy trades of all time for Malik Willis. I was the biggest Malik Willis lover. I was like, this guy's gonna be great. He's so talented and athletic. Traded Amari Cooper for him. It sucked. But Josh, we have a question here. Falcons Steelers last week, going back to this game. Did the Falcons offense just like, is Kirk Cousins that bad? Is the play calling that bad where Bijan's not getting the ball? Or is the Steelers defense just that good?
Maybe a little bit of both. I know it's kind of a cop-out answer, but a lot of new moving parts with the Atlanta Falcons. Cousins on a new team at home. You make a lot of moves. To me, it was just kind of and that's week one. Like, weird things can happen. I feel like it was a couple of years ago where I want to say, did Jacksonville beat the Colts at the Colts? They went 1-0 and then they lost every game the rest of the year. Maybe it was vice versa, but it was something to that effect where I just don't take week one heavy in one way or the other, just because there's so many different factors at play. I would mention, though, and great point by you, highlighting the questionable status of Brown, but a guy like Devonta Smith right now, he cashed his over in the first game. That was a Rhythm bet that I tailed. 66.5 receiving yards. Rhythm is predicting 74.6, especially if he's going to be featured more. On the one hand, you get a little worried because, you're going to put your number one corner on him. He does well because of the attention that A.J. Brown draws from him. But you got to think about the trickle-down effect of, hey, if one guy's out, where do these targets go? How do you attack the game in that way?
Right now, Rhythm's recommending Devontae over as is. Now, if A.J. Brown's out, that's going to shoot right up. So, again, if you want to kind of play the market right now, there's value in Devontae Smith at the moment. But if A.J. Brown is ruled out before tomorrow's game, his line's going to shoot way up. So there is value on Devontae as is, and it could be even more valuable if A.J. Brown's out. Now, based on Rhythm's projections here, it seems like it's going to be a big Jalen Hurts game, which is no surprise. They need him to be successful if they're going to win. But over on the rushing yards and over on the passing yards. So I think, again, I do want to believe in Jalen so bad. And if he can't do this against the Falcons, I think there's going to be other issues. But it's not just Jalen anymore. DeAndre Swift was great for us last year. But Saquon Barkley was an absolute freaking tank last week. As good as it gets. Sorry, Alec. I know that breaks your heart back there because you're a Giants fan. I know. I'm sorry to all the Giants fans out there. Not really. But Saquon, if healthy, can really take the onus off of Jalen Hurts and allow him the rest of the offense to do more. So I think that is the security blanket that the Eagles have needed. Now, I am worried about health. I'm worried about we have a new line without Jason Kelce there. But, he really is the X factor for us now outside of Jalen. And the other thing I want to say, too, I'm a huge Bijan Robinson fan. My uncle coached him in college or high school. So shout out Bijan. It is just malpractice the way that they use him. Okay. I hope Bijan rushes for 150 yards and the Falcons still lose, but he doesn't get the opportunities that he needs. Now, Rhythm has the under, but on his rushing yards, but over on the receiving yards, which I totally agree with. Bijan needs to be fed the ball. Kirk Cousins is stupid if he doesn't feed him the ball. He had 103 receiving yards at the end of last year against the Saints. And then in week one, he had 43 receiving yards. The line right now is 27.5. I feel real confident in that. He is shifty as hell. That dude will bounce all around the field. If he gets dumped off that ball from Kirk Cousins, he's going to give Kirk Cousins some good chunk yardage because Kirk Cousins needs it because he's a little bit cooked.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts too, passing yardage, 231.5, Rhythm's rating 250.
Yeah.
So again, these are all available to you on the app. Download the Rhythm app.
Yes. Again, QR code right there. Scan it. Free 7-day trial. Again, you can download it right now and get a prediction for every single game that's going to be happening, kicking off at 1 p.m. Go through player props, game lines. It's awesome. All right. I'm not just saying that because it's my company, but like it's that cool. And it's really been fun. Again, being in Boston, being at bars last night, watching college football, and just pulling up the app and being able to have that flow of a part of a conversation. And again, as an idiot, it makes me sound way smarter when I can have a confident way to talk about any game. So give it a try, scan that, download it from the App Store. Again, we're just trying to help people out here. It's different than a lot of other betting apps because our sole goal is to help people be smarter and do it in a way that's engaging and it's fun. And again, for somebody like you, again, Josh is as smart as it gets, right? This dude is
too kind.
Look at this guy. I mean,
I'm no MIT. I'm no Brian and Megan. Hey, but I'm okay.
He's a data savant. But when somebody that's looking at data the way Josh does can have a tool like this, imagine somebody that doesn't think like Josh, like me, that can use a tool to be just as confident as him making decisions. So that's the value of Rithmm to me, is that it makes me feel confident, allows me to say on any game. And for Josh, it validates all of the other work that he does and makes him that much better. So Mike asked a great question. Does that take away from Hurts rushing yards? I'm assuming that's in reference to Saquon. His passing. Yeah, you know what? I think the thing with Jalen, if you watch the Eagles, he doesn't really stay in the pocket. So even when he's throwing, he's on the run. So I think it's going to be like his over on the rushing yards is going to be because he's scrambling to get out of the pocket because he's probably just running around aimlessly. But I think honestly, the Eagles, hopefully, they will dominate this game and it's going to be all Jalen and Saquon's going to complement him. But I really think I think he should hit the over in both of them. I just think this is his game to come out and really play the way that he played 2 years ago. So I think he's going to be able to hit both.
Yeah, the other thing I just want to mention too is like when you're waking up, doing your Sunday routine for NFL, check out the inactives too. Like I just saw for the Patriots here, Seattle's inactives, no Kenneth Walker, their top running back here. You mentioned how, AJ Brown's someone to monitor. There's a trickle-down effect when these guys are ruled out. And again, you got to know their status leading up to it, but be quick to react of, okay, if Kenneth Walker's out, who's going to benefit? Is it Zach Charbonneau? You have some Rhythm guys in here already predicted, but it's not just, bets that you make, throughout the week, but maybe late addition bets that you add based upon an injury. One guy being out, one guy benefiting because of that. So again, keep an eye glued to Twitter, X, and get those late inactives. Yeah,
I want to give a quick shout out to my best friend, Joe. So Joe, he's on Twitter as College Base Lock, big college baseball guy. He has 2 receiving props that he's taken from Rhythm that he wants to share. So Demario Douglas on the over on his receiving yards, and then DeAndre Hopkins on the over for his receiving yards. So shout out Joey. Demario Douglas, DeAndre Hopkins on the over. Joe hit the other night. I believe who was the player he used the other night? But again, this is if you want any game player prop predictions, any game lines, just go to Rhythm. Like they're all on there, and you don't have to do much work to get some good, educated, confident decisions to make today.
To Joe's point, Douglas 31.5 receiving yards, Rhythm 56.7.
Okay,
let's go. Pop Douglas over.
All right, I love it. Let's see if there's any other questions or anything else that the audience wants us to highlight, please send it in the chat, and then our guy Alec will let me know. Otherwise, Josh, is there anything else that really sticks out to you today that you're like, what should our audience know? What should we be looking for? What is going to be fun to watch? What are you most excited for this week?
So as a biased Patriots fan, I'm excited about this game. That to me is what I'm excited for when we end this live stream, going home. I heard a rumor my wife is maybe making some game day food.
I don't even get invited. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, yes. But the whole point being Patriots plus 3.5 is my bet, with the Rhythm prediction being much shorter. Ramondre Stevenson going over, 61.5 receiving yards.
Yeah. Somebody just asked your official plays for this episode. So I guess
man.
if you're
There's
going,
a lot. You want here's a notebook. Here, I'll put them all up for you, right? If you can zoom in.
what we can do too is follow up, and we'll tweet this out from Rithmm and from Josh to make sure you see all the plays. But again, like there's a lot that we like today, and they're all coming from Rithmm. So we will follow up and make sure we give everybody the plays. But again, this should be a great day of football. It's just so nice to have the NFL back. It's also nice that I don't have to worry about the Eagles breaking my heart today, which is great. I have to worry about that tomorrow. But
you get the prime time, you get the spotlight tomorrow.
Yeah. If we lose to the Falcons and Kirk Cousins, I may never go back to Philly. But yeah, look, it's always fun doing this with you, man. Glad we got to do this in person. Hopefully some more of this over the next few weeks. Will you be at G2E in Vegas?
Maybe. Didn't plan on it.
I think you should go.
Maybe we should do it together. I don't know. We had some good success last time in Vegas.
And then obviously Super Bowl. We'll be in New Orleans. I don't know where we're gonna go on Bourbon Street. I'm gonna be sitting right on Bourbon Street with some beads on and ready to talk football with you guys. So again, thank you for tuning in. This is a lot of fun to do. Again, Josh is one of my good friends, so to be able to do this every weekend is awesome. We have some really other exciting stuff coming over the next few weeks. And look, we're just getting started. So I'll leave. Let's see. Mike just said it's screwed up that I invited you here to do this and that you didn't invite me over for the spread at the house. I agree, Mike. What is going on?
I totally agree. Yeah, that was totally short-sighted.
It's okay.
I'll make it up to you, man. Don't worry.
It's all right. You're here. Yeah, hopefully, look, I'm going to be in Boston for a few more days. Hopefully nobody else tries to square up and fight me. If you missed that in the beginning, my first few hours in Boston, somebody literally just I looked at him and then some dude just jumped out and I'm not going to fight you. I'm an adult. I'm 30. I can't just do that. A lover, not a fighter. But yeah, man, great seeing you here. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll be putting all these plays out to make sure that you know, again, where Josh's head's at and where the Rithmm's at. If you haven't downloaded Rithmm, it's the best time to do it. Scan that QR code, free 7-day trial, and start betting smarter. It's exactly what we want you to do. So
yeah, great stream here today, James. So next time I'll meet you in Philly for it, or maybe we'll go back to the Borgata as we did years ago.
A little AC trip,
which would be super fun. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. And I'll just say about Rithmm, just give it a shot, and I know you're gonna like it. It can be maybe a little bit overwhelming at first. A lot of numbers, don't know what to do, but once you kind of get the feel for it, it's very intuitive, provides excellent information. It's really going to change the way you bet on sports, because instead of making opinion-based bets, you're really leaning on data from, I make the joke of Good Will Hunting at MIT.
Watched it the other day.
Yeah, great movie, awesome movie. But it's not your fault, James, either. It's not your fault. But it just makes you more confident. And once everyone I've talked to and has been introduced to Rithmm, give them a week, they're hooked. So go download the app, play around with it. I'm pretty confident you're going to enjoy it.
Josh, I have some bad news.
What's up?
Bad news really only for myself and all of Philadelphia. But
what happened?
AJ Brown has been ruled out.
Well, at least you get out ahead of it. You got a day and a half. So what? Okay, as we depart this stream, the line is.
So if you want to go get
5.5,
go get that Devontae Smith. If you can try to beat the books there, go get that the over 66 because it's probably going to shoot up. But man, that sucks. I actually have been saying though, the Eagles need to get the ball more to Dallas Goedert. I think that's underutilized, and I think this is the opportunity, maybe with AJ Brown being out, to spread the ball a little bit more. So hopefully that's what they can do. It really sucks that AJ's out. This phantom injury that just popped up is giving me T. Higgins - Jamar Chase vibes. I don't like it. Hopefully it's nothing more than just a nagging injury. But so just breaking news for everybody here that's hurting my heart.
Well, you'll get the win anyway. Covering, that's in question now at this point. But
I don't know if
hopefully just the win.
If I have to deal with losing to Kirk Cousins at an Eagles bar in Boston, I don't know. I may just stay out all night. I may just sleep on the streets if that happens. So if you see me wandering, you know why.
We can always bunk up at my house, James. It's about 45 minutes away. Don't worry.
Thank you. Yeah. Actually, just real quick too, we're actually in a church. This building is a legit church.
Yeah. How did you come up with this? You got connections everywhere.
My shout out to Garrett. Garrett is my girlfriend's best friend's boyfriend. And we're in a church right now. It's Sunday, talking football. So it's a pretty cool church. It's not a real church anymore, but it was. Now it's a church of football.
Hopefully the football gods, shine upon us today. That's
please. We will follow up with all the plays from the show. Tune in next week. Thanks for joining us. It's a lot of fun as always. And shout out to my guy, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to
great job, download.
See you guys later. I got to walk over so you're going to see my full body. I told you I'm short.